Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to satsang of our perfect living master, Ishwar Puri Ji, where we all gather every day to drink his love, to swim in his love, and to dance in his holiness. That we come here to add holiness to ourselves, to absorb God, to absorb the kingdom of God, and to develop, to go one step forward towards our true home, towards our eternal home, where we'll be fully happy, towards complete and total awareness. That this is our goal, and it's the goal of our master to take us there. And the more we sit in the boat, the more we abide with his commandments, the more we think of him, the more we remember him, then the more we add master, we add shabd, we add God to our whole being. And we become holier and holier, purer and purer, more beautiful, and our soul becomes gorgeous the more we attend to the master. And that gorgeousness that is within will also reflect on the outside, that we will be beautiful from the inside and beautiful from the outside. And whatever we see will also be beautiful because it will be the reflection of our love, that our love will reflect everywhere because we will see God in everybody, we will see master in everybody, we will see master in all objects, even stones or nature or plants or anything we look at, we will see the beauty of God as our eyes become more beautiful. And we will add more love to ourselves, then we will see love everywhere, and we will see gorgeousness and beauty everywhere, and we will see our master everywhere. So I have a poem by Saint Kabir, and I want to dedicate it to Ishwar Puri Ji, and it's called The Rare Sages. Yani, it means the rare true masters. Kabir says, many trees in the forest stood, but not in every forest grows the sandalwood. Pearls are precious, lustrous and round, but not in all seas are they found. The same with a sage, one most rare. They are not found everywhere. Alone the lion prefers the serene. With a herd he will never be seen. In flocks swans are not known to fly. A true hero seldom passes by. So among the masses, common and strong, the sages rarely ever come along. This poem is just I dedicate it to our Holy Master, our Holy Father, Ishwar Puri Ji, and it just tells us that it is rare to find a precious jewel, a perfect one in the world, like Ishwar Puri Ji, and only by great luck and great destiny inscribed on our forehead before we came to this world, it does a person meet a perfect living master, that it is the most beautiful thing as meeting the perfect living master is meeting God himself. And just this is just the love impersonified, the word made flesh and dwells among us, love in the human form, God in the human form, and Satpurush coming to this world to take his souls back to God and the kingdom of God. So yesterday we were talking about Mastana Ji, who was a devotee. For the people who were not here, I just will recap. Mastana Ji was a disciple of Baba Sawan Singh. And yesterday we said a little bit about his life. I will just say it in few sentences. He was born in Baluchistan to a poor family, and from his childhood he was showing spiritual signs, giving to the poor, and wanting to be in temples and in gurdwaras and mosques and doing seva for the priests from his childhood. And then the story goes by where he started to worship the Lord Narayana, which is the embodiment of the Lord Vishnu. And people who worship the deities, the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, they attain a lot of power. And a lot of supernatural power comes to them from these deities, but they are still in the realm of reincarnation. They will still have to be to enjoy their devotion to like Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and enjoy maybe for 2 million years in the causal plane where those deities reside, and enjoy there, and then they will have to be reborn again, and it could be reborn into an ant. So it doesn't take you out of the wheel of reincarnation. But he did not know that, and he used to sleep at night and then wake up and find a coin of gold under his pillow, and that was like part of the supernatural powers. People start to manifest things, and he was manifesting gold every day, and he was asking his mom if she opened if she how did she put the gold on, and she would say no, and the doors were locked. But then he knew it was Lord Vishnu, Narayana, that was putting the gold. And this is true. If you ever saw Sai Baba, I saw a video of Sai Baba on YouTube. You could even look at it yourself. And Sai Baba was like the embodiment of the Lord Vishnu, an avatar. And avatars come to this world just like the perfect master comes to this world. This world includes everything. This world includes the reincarnations of avatars, reincarnations of deities, reincarnation of masters, reincarnation of angels, reincarnation of the biggest devils are here also in this world, and also God and the kingdom, reincarnation of Satpurush, God and the kingdom of God also comes in the human form. So that's why they say this world, the human world contains everything. It contains the reincarnation of everything that you could imagine of. It is here in this world. And so he was devoted to Lord Vishnu, Narayana, and he got a lot of supernatural powers from Lord Narayana. And then the story goes by that one day, as he was finishing his chores in the temple, he built a temple from those gold coins that were given to him by the deity. And he built a beautiful temple and with a beautiful statue, and he was worshiping the statue. And then one day, Baba Sawan Singh himself, who manifested himself in his temple, even though he was physically in the Dera Bias at that time, but it was a miracle that he manifested himself in the temple of Mastana Ji. And then Mastana Ji, and he told him, without a perfect living master, you will go to hell and you will go into the cycle of reincarnation. And he thought that Baba Sawan Singh was lying to him, that this holy man. And then he said, let me go serve you with some milk the cow so I can make you some tea. As he left the temple, he thought, oh, maybe this old man will steal the stuff in the temple. And he locked the temple from the outside on Baba Sawan Singh. When he came back with the tea, he opened the door, he unlocked it, and then Baba Sawan Singh was not there. He just vanished. And then he thought, oh my God, this holy man has more powers than me. And then he was sad that he did not treat him well. And then the fourth night, he was sad for 4 days. The fourth night, when he was sad, Baba Sawan Singh appeared to him in a dream, and he told him, "You're not looking for a perfect living master." And then he sold his cows, and he went looking for a perfect living master. He got initiated by so many, but he was not satisfied. And then, of course, he was led to Baba Sawan Singh in Dera Bias, and when he saw Baba Sawan Singh, he was so full of joy. His soul, when our soul meets the perfect living master, it just knows it. It knows it, and it starts dancing. And that's what happened to me when I met Sant Singh. My soul knew it. When I went to his Savadars, when I was initiated, when I first entered the room, directly my soul told me everything you were looking for. And I was looking and looking for many years for a path that I thought it was through Buddhism or through shamanism and Indian Native Americans. I went through like so many stuff. And once I stepped in the room where the disciples of Sant Singh were, he was not there, but it was his disciples. I was like, "Phew, this is what I was looking for all my life." My soul told me. My soul told me I'm at the right place. So Mastana Ji, when he saw Baba Sawan Singh, he directly knew that he was at the right place, and he started dancing. And he was known to always get intoxicated in God and start dancing for Baba Sawan Singh. He was an intoxicated. That's why they call. And Baba Sawan Singh directly called him Mastana Ji. Mastana Ji means the crazy in love for God. Somebody who is crazy in love for God. And Baba Sawan Singh said he didn't even know that his name was Kima Amal. He just called him Mastana, and that name stuck with him that for the rest of his life. He was called Mastana Ji. He served Baba Sawan Singh and brought so many disciples to Baba Sawan Singh, and even Baba Sawan Singh authorized him to do satsangs, and he started to do satsangs. So now I'm gonna read to you from the book of Bibi Raj that she wrote about Mastana Ji. Here is Mastana, so you can see Mastana. That's how he looked like. And Bibi Raj met Mastana Ji, and so many masters met Mastana Ji. Sant Ajayeb met him, um, um, and he spoke of stories about him. Ishwar Puri met him and did seva. Ishwar Puri Ji met him, our holy master, and he did seva with him, and he has stories about him. So Mastana Ji, is a great soul, and great souls are worth telling their stories. It's worth sharing their stories because they have become one with absolute God. They have merged with the divine and became the divine. So, just like when I look at this book, it's so yummy. Like I can enter into it and become the story. That's how I feel. Like I feel like this is, you know, me like living here is also a story that I went into the story of my of okay, so now let me read to you. So yesterday we reached that he started dancing to Baba Sawan Singh, and Baba Sawan Singh touched his foot and told him to stop, and told him now he will be liberated and he will be taken out of the wheel of reincarnation. And he told him to go and break the statue in the temple of Lord Narayana, Lord Vishnu, and then he will initiate them. So he went all the way to Baluchistan, and he broke the statue of Narayana, and he brought the pieces to Baba Sawan Singh. Then Baba Sawan Singh said, "Okay, now you're not worshipping statues outside. You are worshipping the God that lives inside you, because God lives inside us, and that's where He is found, inside, not in statues outside." So when Mastana Ji went back to his country, he saw all the priests, sadhus, and people against him, and some threw stones at him, and some were ready to kill him because they were angry at the breaking of the temple and insulting Narayana by breaking the statue into pieces. For many months he faced that opposition, but he was under the shelter of his guru Sawan Singh and was not afraid. He left the city and made a cave outside the city and meditated on the name of his master for so many months. Slowly, the people started to visit him and listen to his new kind of satsang on the details of the living master. When the people came to know the reality, they were impressed by him. And because his disciples and asked for the master in India and was impressed by him and became his disciples and asked for the master in India. Many were ready to visit Hazur. Mastana Ji did his work for his master with love, faith, and full devotion. So he was being helped by Hazur at every step in his country. He had already attained so many supernatural powers from his previous devotion to Narayana that the main difference now was that at first he was looking for God in a statue, but now he had known God as the living master within. He took no time to gain the real benefit of being a true disciple of his living master, who gave him experience within. He brought some people to Hazur from Bulistan and introduced them. Hazur was very happy to see all of them with Mastana Ji, and he initiated them. Like this, he continued going back to Baluchistan and kept bringing the souls to Bias in the service of his master. And the all were being and master, and all were being initiated by Hazur. This went on for so many years. When he came back to his country, one time, oh, this is the story I wanted to tell you yesterday. When he came back to his country, one time, his wife came to know all about his total detachment from her. She was living in her parents' house. She decided to remarry and to leave her mad husband. On this, Mastana Ji gave a deaf ear to her. He did not need her when he had true love from his beloved master. There was none in his heart and soul except his beloved Guru. One day, he told his disciple to bring him a donkey. Mastana Ji painted his face black and rode on the donkey and wandered in the market giving money to those who loved him. Then he gave money to his disciples and asked him to buy some sweets to his disciple and asked him to buy some sweets. He told him that one who abused him by the name of his mother, sister, and wife should be given more sweets. After putting on a good show, Mastana Ji came back to his cave. After that incident, some days passed when some children came to Mastana Ji and told him that his wife was getting married to another man. Mastana Ji went with them to see his wife and her new husband. When he reached there, he folded his hands and bent his head and said to both of them, the bride, his wife, and the bridegroom sitting by her. To his wife he called mother, and to the bridegroom he called father. As soon as he called him father, the bridegroom fell on the floor and died there and then. He died there and then. After this, the people started calling him the man of miracles. Mastana Ji's father-in-law was very stubborn. He was ready to marry his daughter to another man. For the second time, when she was again married to another man, Mastana Ji was told by some people. In, in time, he again went with them to see his wife and her new husband. This time, when he reached the newly married couple, he repeated the same words to his wife, and she died there and then. But the man fell on his feet and begged for mercy and forgiveness for marrying the wife of a saint. So he so he saved his life by his kindness, and the man became a true disciple of Mastana Ji. Mastana Ji took him to Hazur and introduced him as the third husband of his wife. Hazur gave a loud laugh and said, okay, Mastana, if you say this, I believe in you. On Mastana Ji's request, the man was given initiation. Then Mastana Ji asked Hazur if he could live in his company and not go back to his home. Hazur asked the reason, and Mastana Ji told him that, that there were saints of a low level there, and he did not want to be without the company of the true saints, as he was now used to living with them. Since he had met Hazur, he did not want to live anywhere else. But Hazur told him that there were more souls in Baluchistan who needed to receive initiation by his help. So he needed to go back, and he should continue doing more satsang. Then Mastana Ji went back again and started doing seva for his beloved master. So in this story, we learn one thing. Don't ever mess with saints. Don't mess with saints, especially their wives. because because you know even in the Adigran, the Guru Granth Sahib, in one of the banis, there is a whole slok written about what happens to somebody who abuses the saint, somebody who does something wrong to a saint, like what happens to them. And then in that bani, it is said that they will be reincarnated into a worm in the dirty drain for ages and ages. There is another story that was told by Master Sant Singh, and I forgot who the saint was, but I remember that the same thing happened. That a woman, she cheated on her saint husband, and then she died and she became a stone for ages. And it was then when another perfect master stepped on that stone that she was liberated. Anyway, well, I just wanted to tell you, don't criticize anybody, especially saints. Don't criticize saints, don't mess with saints, because that could cause a big trouble. um, so, uh, should I read another story? Uh, okay, one more page. And before I read the story, it's Bibi Raj wrote something connected with Hazur and Mastana Ji. At first, I would like to introduce the Satpursh Nagar Sahib, who was the successor of Mastana Ji. Baba Gurbakash Singh Ji, which is the same, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Managar Shahib, spent all his life in the company of Mastana Ji and Hazur during his time in Bias. He used to tell stories of Hazur and Mastana Ji. As, as I, your author, Bibi Raj, had been visiting the Dera in Jagamalawali, some miles away from Hazur's town house uh, in Sirasa, I was able to hear many of these stories. The following are several beautiful and true stories in connection with Hazur and Mastanaji. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce these names, but I will just read one story, and then tomorrow we can continue with more stories, as there is a lot of stories, but it will be fun. Once Hazur was walking, and all of a sudden Mastanaji started dancing out of bubbling love of his master. Hazur stopped him and said, Mastana, control yourself and digest the love. Sometimes the love cannot be digested. Mastana Ji stopped dancing. Then Hazur gave darshan from the window of his residence in the Dera Bias. Mastana Ji, standing on the ground, said loudly, no guru like you is living now, and no one will be like you in the future. Hazur, in the same way, replied, no Mastana, no Mastana is like you now, and no one will be Mastana like you in the future. Go back to Baluchistan, as I have made you the peer, guru, or spiritual king of Baluchistan, and my blessings are always with you. Mastana Ji said, it is all your grace, my Sadguru. Mastana Ji grew his beard long when he went to Sikandarbad, and there he made his cave in Hazur's field and meditated there for some months. When Hazur went there in Sikandarbad and came to know that Mastana had made a cave in the field, he went to see the cave, which had a carved wooden roof on the ground level. Hazur reached the field, and Mastana came out of his cave to see his beloved master. Hazur saw his long beard and asked him why he had grown his beard so long. Then Mastana Ji answered that he had grown it so long as a brush to clean the shoes of his beloved master. Out of joy, Hazur again gave him so many blessings. This happened when Babaji Mangar, Mastana Ji's eventual successor, was also present there and was in the service of Mastana Ji. Okay, I think enough, but Mastana Ji, his book is delicious and his stories are delicious, and his love for his master, his crazy love for his master, is also so adorable that we can learn from such people, we can learn from such personalities to grow madly in love with our master, just like Mastana Ji did. Because what would that bring? That will break when we go crazy for love like Mastana Ji. That will break the barrier between us and God, and the floodgates of bliss, of joy, of intoxication will break and flood us, and we will become the abode of love, the abode of intoxication, and the abode of joy, and the abode of bliss, just like Mastana Ji. So now I would like to welcome my very dear brother Bishesh.